Today's episode is brought to you by Musical Theater Radio's merch store. Looking for that perfect gift for someone or just want to treat yourself to some great musical theater themed merch? Head to musicaltheaterradio.com and click on the All Things Theater button on the homepage and check out all the different designs available. And now, today's interview. Welcome back to another episode of Be Our Guest here on Musical Theater Radio. I am your host, as always, Jean-Paul Jovanoff. I love having on returning guests, but today's guest is something special. Now, during the pandemic, he and I put together a couple of special events where we did a one-night-only reunion of his show From Here to Eternity, and he had him on, Sir Tim Rice, his writing partner, the original cast members, and a performance or two of his songs. And then we did a panel session for people to discover new works. So I am so very happy to have him back on for a record 5th time, but the first time since September of 2022. Yeah, it's been that long. It's time to catch up with our good friend, Stuart Brayson. Stuart, it's been too long.
Hello. I can't believe it's that long since we had our last chat. I thought it was just last year or something.
It's crazy.
Where's all the years going, man?
I know.
It's bonkers. It's great what we did, you know? I mean, when we put together the one night, it was a fantastic event and it went down so well. And it was, I think a lot of people needed that during the pandemic. They needed some kind of like a musical theatre fix and everything, because we were kind of really, we were lost and people forget,
yeah.
You know? I mean, how lost we were and how long it went on. So it was a good thing and it was a good idea, and I really enjoyed it. I think everybody and the Eternity fans all enjoyed it. So it was a great success. And then putting on a little chat that we did afterwards, you know, that was such a good idea as well, you know.
Yeah.
Encouraging people to like look at new work and talk about new work, and that's what you're all about. And that's why I'm on this record 5th time.
It's great. I know we put that first one on only like 3 months into the pandemic when nobody knew exactly what we were doing.
Well, I think we were
still trying to figure it out.
Yeah, we were kind of we were trendsetters. I mean, we set the ball rolling. I think we were the first, really. And you know, slap on the back for us, aren't we? Aren't we brilliant?
So I know you've done this 4 times before, but I'm going to ask for a 5th time, a 30-second bio of Stuart Brayson.
Well, I am the guy that's been on your show 5 times. And I'm a composer of new work, new musicals. I'm waving the flag, the banner, whatever you want to call it, for new musicals and homegrown stuff here in the UK. I put a show on in the West End, fortunately, a few years ago with Tim Rice, called From Here to Eternity. And we've now had, I think, 4 productions in the States, 3 or 4 of them in the States, and another one in the UK. We had a revival at the end of 22, the China Theatre, which was fabulous. And we did a production last year in Milwaukee, and we're still developing it towards Broadway, and it's all looking good. So, you know, that, and then in the interim, I've just written a lot of other stuff, lots of other musicals. I didn't set out to write musicals, but I'm going over the 30 seconds here, Jean-Paul. But I didn't set out to write them. I didn't think I was a guy that just played guitar in a band and sang, but somehow I've got involved in writing new work, and I love doing it, and I love hearing young kids especially singing new work. It's the best feeling on the planet, and I've been so blessed, so fortunate.
We have so much to catch up on. It's been, like I said, 2.5 years since we actually had a proper interview. I think we've probably emailed back and forth a bunch of times.
We have.
Not done.
I thought it was last year. I must be honest. I didn't know it was that long. Well, we did.
I'm wrong.
I don't know. I didn't know I'd been on it 5 times. I don't count. But but we've had some good productions of Eternity since we last met. So a lot of people will have seen it in London. We did a great run. We've recorded an album. I don't know when it's coming out. It sounds great. I play it every couple of months. It's a lovely new studio album. But I haven't got any details when that's going to be released, and I hope soon, because it is a fantastic piece of work, and the kids in London were superb. And it's the first studio album, because the original one was taken from the live show, so we never
Mhm.
went into a studio to do. So this one is recorded. So hopefully that'll be greenlit soon. And we did a lovely production last year in Milwaukee, and I got to see Wisconsin and go over and meet everyone, and it was lovely. And it was a lovely theatre, and it's a lovely part of America. I love coming to America, and I'm hopefully going to come to Canada at some point.
We got some theaters here. You can put the shows on, but
I'd
like,
love to. I'd love to come to Canada. I love. I go over it on the aeroplane, and I always think of you. But all I see out the window is frozen wasteland, ice for like 4 hours, and I wake up 4 hours later, and it's still ice.
I
So
can't believe you were that close. You were in, well, Wisconsin isn't that close, but it is relatively close in the terms of.
it was kind of I breezed in and breezed out. I wasn't there long. I kind of came for the opening night of that production, and it's a lovely theatre. In Milwaukee. It's the Skylight Music Theatre, and it was a beautiful place, and they were great. All the kids were fantastic. We had one of the best casts I've seen. Actually, the sound was fantastic. So hopefully, we're going to get another production running soon in the States, and this still is the plan to get it to Broadway. But I've just had a good chat with a young lady I've been kind of worked with over the last few years and we're going to put some evenings with, where I go out and do my chats, and we're trying to get that into London because I've never done one in London. Mm-hmm. And so we're going to do that. And we've also thinking of doing something with From Here to Eternity as well, so it's all kind of fresh. I've just literally had a meeting with her about an hour ago. So we're talking about that. But there's other stuff happening, which I shall tell you about in due course. But how are you? That's the most important thing.
Well, I'm okay, but this interview is not about me, and I don't like talking about me. So let's focus on you. That's more important.
I put anybody that knows me, probably if just follow me on any of the social media platforms or whatever, I'll know I put a show on last year, and it's taken quite a few years to get it going, called Irish Affair. Mm-hmm. And it's a great true story set in the 1950s. In the Wexford area in Ireland. And I was fortunate enough to get in touch with the opera house out there and kind of pitched them this idea of this story, which is a fantastic love story. It's a true story. It's beautiful. And I thought, are you interested? We discussed it. We worked on it. Then the pandemic happened and it got set back and staff moved on and whatever, but I kept resiliently pushing. And last year we put it on for 3 nights at the Opera House there, and it was just amazing. And the reaction was superb. And we got stand ovations the 3 nights without being too arrogant. It really did go down pretty well, rather well indeed. And it was beautiful, and the MD's fantastic, the director's fantastic, and the sound of it was wonderful. And it was just a small band. Had like small band, but he really captured Ireland, and it's got that kind of older people that listen to your show will probably remember The Quiet Man. There was a movie with John Wayne, and it's set in the 50s, and it's kind of about Ireland, and it's got that feel. This Irish Affair has that feel of The Quiet Man and a bit of Brigadoon, and it's just lovely, and it's quite old-fashioned in lots of ways, but it's kind of not political, but it's the story is about a man and a woman who've kind of like promised when they got married. She's a Catholic, a Protestant, he's a Catholic, and they kind of promised that they wouldn't let the priest bring their children up and tell them what to do and all that when they got to a certain age. But as they had a couple of daughters, things spiraled out of control, and the priest came in and all of that. And Sheila, she's very headstrong, the character, and she just took her children and ran off. They didn't know where she was, and the whole of the world basically followed this story, and the newspapers and everything. The Pope got involved. It was in all the American New York Times. All that. I mean, it was like quite a big story in 1957 and all of that. So the whole thing's about the community and about these two characters, love story that he can't live without her. She's away. She's quite headstrong. And it's just beautiful. It's a lovely story, and it worked gorgeous. So the good news is we're going to do it again this year, and in the main theatre, in the main opera house, and it'll be fantastic. And I'm really looking forward to it. So anyone who's listening around the June period, get over to Ireland and come and see it, because they're a fantastic bunch of singers. The musical arrangements are superb. They're fantastic, and it's one of the best things I think I've done. I mean, I've heard. I just sat amazed listening to it last year, thinking, "Well, this is pretty good." So hopefully, it's going to have a great life, that show. So it's been, as I always say to you every time we chat, it takes a long time to get these things going. Even if you're fortunate to have a few contacts or whatever, it's still a nightmare trying to get new stuff off the ground. But when you do, the feeling is just extraordinary because it's so special, and audiences do just love new work if it's good. If it's not good, they'll tell you. But it's going to be exciting. So I'm looking forward to when we've developed it, we're putting it. It's going to be a far bigger production this year, and hopefully it's going to have a life after that, where it goes, it tours Ireland and beyond. But it's just lovely to see it come alive and meet these characters. When you've written about someone, and then when you see them on stage and you get to talk, and especially because I've never been to Ireland before. So now I've been about 5 or 6 times, and I feel kind of one of the gang, and I go out there. They're so lovely. The people are beautiful, and it's a gorgeous, gorgeous show. So I'm very fortunate to be given these chances, or that chance.
Yeah. When you saw the production, that 3-day production, was there anything because when we write, we have it in our heads, but it's completely different when it gets into the bodies of somebody else. Was there moments where in the show where you went, oh my God, they get that, or they brought something that you went, I didn't think of that. How did they
Yeah, no, totally. Because I wrote the script for this as well. There's a lot of comedy in it. And I was very conscious of making something that was charming as well. That didn't make too heavy on the sort of religious undertones, because that could be kind of not a great night in the theatre. But I just thought it'd be lovely to it's there behind the scenes, but it is about the community and love. And I put some good little wisecracks in, and it all went down great. And it's a lovely feeling when, in your mind, when you're writing it, you go, this will go down well, this will go down. And then when you're sitting in the auditorium and it's getting a laugh, I mean, I think some of the laughs have got more enjoyment from the dialogue than even the songs, because it's just lovely when you get it works and people are laughing. And also some of the characters got like hissy boos and stuff like that, it's like a pantomime. And so, yeah, it's a lovely film. And there was other stuff where I thought, oh, I didn't see that. Just as you said before, I didn't think that was going to work like that. But as I always say to everyone, if it goes down well, take all the credits. I knew that would be that. I knew it would happen. But, no, it was terrific. So this year we've got to step up and have to make it, because there'll be a lot of people coming back again from the community who saw it last year, and we've got to give them an even bigger show and better show. But it'll be hard to improve on it because it was so good. And like I said, you don't know until you put them on. You just don't know if the audience is going to really take to it. It's going to happen. But it's great. I'm really looking forward. I'm very proud of it. I think it's a great. I've just written 2 new songs for this new version we're doing, and so the score's just got a little bit more depth, and we're bringing another character in. So it's looking good. It's very exciting. And you should come over, Jean-Paul.
I know. I'm trying to figure out when I can do that.
Get you a private jet.
That would be nice, but not realistic. But I want to go back to what you were saying about the audience laughed at that moment. And let's be honest, if you write a drama's universal. Pain is pain, hurt is hurt. But yeah, you write a joke, and in your head it's hilarious, but you don't have a clue.
No, you don't. You don't know if it's going to go down or it's going to get a laugh and all that. And when it does, it's a lovely feeling, It's a great feeling. I mean, I love it when songs go down well and you get the goosebumps and stuff. And we've got some nice big songs and the choral numbers. I love to write the big choral anthem kind of things. And they really work well. And they're such a good, the standard of the singing was exceptional. But as I said, when you get a laugh, or the line goes down well. Like I said, one of the characters, the priest came on and got boos and hisses and stuff. And it's kind of nice, because I was saying when I was writing it, well, I think this will get that reaction. In your dreams, you're thinking that. But when you're sitting and it actually happens, it's a lovely feeling. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So it's very exciting. And I think the potential of the show is it's such a good story. It's a love story, and I think it's a universal story about, this is our life. We're going to do what we want and not be told what to do. And love conquers all. I know it's all the cliches, but the cliches are kind of the reason why they're cliches is because there's a lot of truth in them. And it was a true story. It happened in the 50s, and it caused a lot of a big stink around the world. I mean, it was just if it was happening now, it would be on the news like 24/7. Where is she? Because she left her home. Or is she coming back? And Sean, her husband, he was going through absolute hell with the community because they're all basically saying, "Forget her, leave her. She's gone. And he couldn't because he's missing his kids and he's missing his wife, and it's just a real great, very cinematic love story kind of thing, which I love to do. But yeah, I've been very strong. I'm looking forward to that coming back. And I was telling you earlier before we came on air that I've got this year. I think it's about September. Last year I was asked to do write a new show for the bicentenary of the railways in the UK, and it's going to be it's a big event. And because we were obviously the home of the railways, the North was. It's the Stockton to Darlington Railway in 1825. So this year there's going to be a big kind of hoo-ha in Darlington in the North, and I've written a new show, so they're going to put that on, and it's a kids show, and it's called Darley's Magical Ride. So the kids get on the train and it goes through all different periods and history, and you get a sense of the whole thing. But obviously the whole thing is about the train and the railway and a celebration of this brilliant, from George Stephenson and the home of the railway. So we're putting that on, and I'm looking forward to that. I heard a couple of the songs performed last year just by some young kids, and it really worked quite well. So hopefully we're going to give it all the bells and whistles. And so that'll be on about September this year in Darlington. So that, again, if anybody's around or they can get to see it, it'll be worth coming along, especially youngsters, because I was asked to do it. It's not my story. It was a story by a fantastically talented journalist and writer, Peter Barron. And he said, would you consider doing a musical on this? And I said, just give me the idea. What is the idea? And he told me, and I'm a big kid anyway. And I just thought, God, I would have loved this when I was 12 or something, 11 or 10. This idea of going through, and he goes through to the First World War, and then the train moves on. It goes back to the dinosaurs and the Romans and all the things that were happening. It's just a lovely idea. And I thought, kids will love this. So I'm looking forward to that. And it's, again, I always say it's the challenge of being asked to do something that's kind of step outside your comfort zone a bit. You don't know if you can do it, but I like to do things that people maybe don't expect you to do. I think that's part of it, but that would be good. So you've got to come in September too.
There's too many times I have to come over.
Get your private helicopter.
Maybe I have to just stay for a year and just watch everything.
I'm looking forward to meeting you, because we've had some great chats over the years. I didn't know we'd done 5 of these, but
it's crazy.
But I think what you're doing and what you've been doing and done is fantastic. I mean, I have to sing your praises.
Thank you.
The whole idea of having a network, a platform for new work and writers to talk and blabber on like I am, it's a fantastic outlet. And we're all kind of a community together trying desperately to get our work out there. And it's so difficult. It's so difficult because there's obviously so many theatres that are just full with shows that are just going to be there forever. And it's difficult to get them out and get a new one on. So I understand other people's problems out there, writers and composers, and the frustration they go through. But from my point of view, when you do get something going, the rewards are fantastic because it's the audience. We write for applause, we write for the audience, and it's a lovely feeling, especially with a new song, a new idea. I think it's the ultimate.
Yeah. I've been at this now almost 6 years. When this comes out, it might almost be 6 years that I've been running the station and doing interviews like that. And it's so exciting to have people like yourself and others come back on the show after like 2.5 years, because you know how long it takes to write a show
Yeah,
and rewrite a show, and
yeah.
progress is so slow before you can even get a reading or a workshop or a production, and it's so gratifying to hear the progression and go, just thinking I was a little part of that. Just even if I don't see the show, if I really wasn't a part of the show, it was maybe just coming on here gave them a little bit of inspiration. Go, yeah, let's
It's
keep
it.
going.
What you do is you're a good sounding board,
Yeah,
and it's good to because it's a very. I was told this years ago by a chap that kind of like supported me when I was very young, starting off writing stuff. And he said writing is the loneliest profession. And I always remember him saying that. And it is true.
mm,
You kind of spend most of the time in a room somewhere or wherever you are, you're in your own head.
yeah,
And you're not really part of everywhere else. You kind of, and so you never get a chance, unless you're in a partnership where there's two of you writing or all that might be. That's the only time but then again, you're both sharing the same dream. So you
yeah,
both think everything you do is great. But it's quite good to come. Well, it's more than quite good. It's excellent to be able to come on a platform like this, like a program like this, and meet people like yourself. Well, there's no one like you, and to be able to actually, you don't know anything about these projects. I mean, I'm talking about them, and then you're just getting the vibe, and you're giving enthusiasm back.
mhm.
And it's kind of like therapy. It's musical theatre therapy. That's maybe our next program we'll work on together. Musical theatre therapy.
That's funny.
But it's very important to be able to talk about the stuff. And even if it never works or it doesn't go on or it isn't a massive hit, that's not important. I always say the most important thing is doing it. It's
Yeah,
actually is coming up with an idea and then saying, I am not going to stop until I get this finished. Get it written,
yeah,
work on it, write it. It exists. It exists. Hopefully one day it'll have a life. If it doesn't, proud of yourself because you've committed to something and saw through. But it is difficult. You're not getting paid. There's no money. You kind of got, you've got to pay the bills and stuff. But it's for the writing process itself is, it's a great way of cathartic. It's cathartic. If you're a writer, you need to write, and you need to finish the
yeah,
work. Super important to get it done,
yeah,
even if nobody else sees the potential in it. If you do, stick with it and
yep,
finish it.
yeah. Because you never know
Totally.
who's gonna hear it, who's gonna see it and like it, and want to take it to the next level. Because if you don't do it, no one's gonna see it, and no one's gonna like it or dislike it or just, yeah, just
But
do
it's
it.
like anything else until you put it on. In
Yeah.
lots of ways, it exists. Maybe you've got your recordings, demos, or you've got a script and you can let people read it. But there's a difference. Some people just don't get it. They can't read or they can't hear a rough demo or whatever. It doesn't resonate with them. But
Mm.
when you put it on a stage and you get some singers, and even if it's just the most basic production of piano, a little concert of it or whatever it is, or 20 minutes or something,
Hmm.
then the audience is your judge. Are they getting it? And that's when you have something, when
Yes.
they are getting it, and the audience is getting it, because we write for audiences. We're not writing for some business guy or some publishing network or whatever they are, or
Yeah.
somebody that's going to be judgmental or a critic or something. We're writing for the public. The audience
Yeah.
they are our benchmark. They're getting it, great. Even if I write a song and it's not my favorite song, and it goes down gangbusters and people go crazy for it, I love it, because if they love it, I love it. You know,
100%. Yeah.
it just, but we are the fortunate ones to be able to do this, because I always say, and I've said it in 4 other chats we've had, uh, that I'm one of the fortunate ones because it's not a job. It isn't a job. Being
Yep.
able to sit down and write. I just wrote 2 songs the other week for this Irish show that we put Irish Affair for the new production, and I just thought it's lovely, isn't it? Great to be able to people actually want to hear them.
Yeah.
When you get, and it's a lovely feeling that people actually want to look at your work and listen to it. That most people don't get that. If they do something and work in an office or they're baking bread or whatever, it's very rare somebody comes in and goes, "Oh, let's have a look at your loaf of bread or whatever. Let's have a look at your chair." They
Yeah.
don't just take it for granted, but we're fortunate that people come to hear your songs and
Yeah.
enjoy your musicals, hopefully.
Of course, people are sometimes mean and just come in and crap all over your stuff. They don't usually do that to a
Yeah,
baker.
yeah. Well, just eat bread. But no, I agree. I mean, the thing is, it's very difficult composing and
Yeah,
creating new stuff in the sense of it's not the difficulty coming up with an idea. Okay, that can be difficult, but the most difficult thing is getting something on. Is getting the finance, as we've said
yeah,
numerous times, getting somebody to believe in it, finding a venue, finding a team that wants to work on it. I mean,
yeah,
all of that is super important, but it's the most hardest thing. But when you get it, like
yeah,
I've got a great team in Ireland, and we're a good little tight unit. And once you've got that, I always go back to because I started in pop music and being in bands. So I always go back. It's a good little band we've got here. It's a good band. We don't all have to be brilliant, but as a unit,
hmm
we're a great team, and
yeah,
that's super important for to get your show out and for it to work. That you need to find that team that you all get it, and you're all in it together. One for all for one.
for
That
sure.
kind.
Have you got anything else that you want to talk about? Because I know you've been working on again 2.5 years. You must be doing some stuff.
I am. I've got a. I've been working in Newcastle. I've got a show up there called the Dolce Vita. We did a nice workshop of it, and then we did a reading last year. I had a good meeting with the team up there before Christmas. We're hoping we're going to get that one, out of the paddock and into the theatre because they're doing some marvelous things. Well, I was born there, so it's a beautiful place that it's the theatre that I first went to as a kid. So to be able to work with them now on a brand new show is a lovely feeling. And it's a great little story set in 1965. Up there, there was a club, and it was a kind of cool club where all the stars used to go for like the Beatles or the Stones or whatever, when they were in town, because it
Mhm.
was a casino and a club, and they could get a drink after hours and have a smoke, and there'd be like a floor show on there. So we've set the whole show in this floor show, and it's all of the sense of you've got the brothers running the club, and it's comedy, and you get a sense of all the things that are going on, and it's swinging 60s, and there's the relationships, and everything's spiraling out of control. It's a bit of a farce and pots. And so I'm looking forward to progressing that, but we haven't got any dates where it's going to be on, but hopefully we can get something. We might even get something on this year, put some kind of version of it on. But we're working hard on it. Everybody's behind it, and hopefully, like I said, that again, it's a regional show that could then tour and be like a Blood Brothers or something. Just because it's set in that period and set in the north of England, doesn't mean it just works in the north. You could work anywhere really because it's a universal story. So hopefully that one's going to get cooking, and I'm still working with Eternity. We're still progressing with that. So there's tons of other stuff happening, but I've got to save more stuff in reserve to talk to you on my sixth groundbreaking episode.
You've got there's stuff in reserve because I play songs from other shows that we talked about because you were the 11th person that I interviewed right in the beginning.
Were you? I didn't know how long you'd been going when I
Yeah,
first
so
chatted.
back in 2019 we met, and
Yeah,
that's how long we've known each other and
yeah, yeah.
doing stuff.
Well, I
But
don't know. And also, I've got my pink Angora sweater because I know you played some of the tracks, so we're working
nice.
on that. I had a nice chat with the director the other week, and we're going to put something on with that. So he's kind of really hot and behind it. But it's like I've said, until you get them going and
I
put them
know.
on, it looks like nobody's doing anything. But we are behind the scenes. There's
Yep.
tons of things happening. It just takes a long time. But when you get them on, it'll be worth it. And it's quite nice going back to a show that you wrote a while ago and you've not heard it for a bit, and then you go back and you go, "God, this is actually like." We had a meeting last week with me and this director of Angora, and um, I just said that great. It's a just great story, great outsider, great character, great. The Johnny Depp movie Ed Wood was fantastic, and that was this director's kind of calling card because he'd seen that film when he was a kid and related to the freaks and the weirdos, and there's somebody as mad as me, and that's what the Ed Wood character is so tremendous. But as I always say, anyone about writing shows, if you write something topical and it'll only work at that point in time. But if you come up with a good idea, a good story, it's still a good story in 5 to 10 years, 20 years. It's still a great story. It's about the universal truths. We'll all relate to these characters, and you always will. And they're moving. And the Ed Wood character, his relationship with Bela Lugosi, this kind of sort of bond between an older morphine addict at the end of his career, and this young wacky guy who's wearing Angora sweaters and kind of making films for 30 bob, so like on a real shoestring, but a never say die attitude. That's a lovely kind of relationship between an older guy and a younger guy, and believing in each other. And it's a great. So I was just having a chat about that with this director, and hopefully, like I said, move it on. But you go back to them and you go, that's still a good story. It's still a great idea. They're still good songs.
Yeah.
So never give up on your dreams. Never give up on your plans to do something. Even if you put it to one side for a bit, move and work on something else. You find your way back to them again. And then when you go back, you've got a fresh kind of approach to it.
Yeah.
And if it's good, it's still good.
Yeah. I've talked with a number of people who've, it's been sitting in a drawer for 10 years, because they maybe you get to a point where you're just at a block and you're like, no, I'm going to do something else. And it just sits there, and you get back to it and you're like, oh, because I did that to myself last year. I had a show that I wrote, I don't even know, 15 years ago or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And then on a hard drive that I didn't think I was going to ever get it back because it was dead, I got all my stuff back, and I took a listen to the stuff. I went, ooh, there's something in there. And I've grown now as a person, and after, a decade or whatever it is, you can come back and go, oh, that didn't work, but because you've learned. So yeah, you're right.
You go back to it with time, but the good thing is, well, to respect your younger self and go, I probably couldn't do that now. I couldn't write that way now.
Yeah.
You have a different way to write when you're younger, or maybe you're learning the ropes, or like you become more of a craftsperson or craftsman as you get older, like I have. But sometimes I listen to the younger me, and I go, God, he was good. I couldn't do that now. He was first and all of that, and no rhymes. I used to be terrible for, like, I wasn't rhyming anything, and I kind of got away with it. And now I'm like a stickler for rhyme. I'm ridiculous, I even talk in rhyme, all the time. But you kind of go back to your stuff, but you've got to respect your younger self. But then older teacher head go, that didn't work, and I could just do this. But you still have the essence of what you did, and appreciate it. So no, it's good. It's valid. But that is why I've said always try and finish something, because it exists. Even if you put it away for X amount of time, it's finished. Don't get halfway through and go, oh, I'm not going to, I'm giving up on, because this is the worst thing. A lot of people just give up, or they get a bad feedback on something and they go, oh, they must be right. I'm a failure. And no, you're not. You know what I mean? You got to believe in yourself.
Oh, 100%. I agree, because I'll be honest, I play stuff on the station that I'm not a fan of. I don't enjoy, but that doesn't mean anything. That doesn't mean the next person won't enjoy it, and love it. So that's why I play everything. There's somebody out there that this is written for. So you're right. Just if somebody goes, oh, I don't like that, that's not good. Okay, take that as take that information in, but now go to the next. Now, if 400 people say it, okay, maybe you got some consistency.
That's your audience basically just walked out.
Yeah, exactly. But
but it's a case of you've got to believe in what you're doing, and if you've got versatility. I mean, I've written quite a few shows, and some people I have meetings with will go, I didn't really like that one, but I like this one, because there's something for everyone. It's kind of like. For me, my shows are like the children, and you can't have favorites unless one's making you more money.
Exactly.
Anyway, it's as always, it's just fantastic to speak to you. And again, hats off to you and what you do. And I'm sure I'm speaking for everybody else that comes on your program. Will think you're fab, and what you've done is amazing. And keep going. Thanks. And I just hope. I just more people get to see and hear you and all of that, and what you're doing. Because as we had these conversations in lockdown, and we were talking about stuff, there's nobody doing what you're doing, and if there is, I don't know of them, and it's just a tremendous achievement. So again, congrats for
Well,
everything.
I don't like talking about myself, but it is what I'm doing with new works. It's a risk. You're
Yeah.
risking because they're new and people don't necessarily want to hear new. Our humans are they want repetition, they want what they know, they want safety of that. And I understand that. So, but somebody has to step up and go, I'm going to take this risk. Here's this stuff. You might not know it, but take a listen. So it's just to talk
But
this bit.
I had that issue years ago when I first come up with From Here to Eternity, when kind of it was starting to get going.
Mm,
But the people that were involved behind the scenes, the producing team, they were saying, could we put songs in from the set in 1941? Can we put some songs in from 1941? And I was like,
mm,
no, because what's the point? Because I can't compete with Smoke Gets in Your Eyes. I can't compete with, As Time by or whatever the song, this the big
yeah,
hits of the day with a new score. My songs might be better and certainly were more in keeping with the story, but they don't know them. So I had to stand up and say, unfortunately, no. If you're
yeah,
going to do it, you've got to do my score. Otherwise, there's no point because I can't compete with that with an audience, And I think I was right to do that, but it is very difficult, especially when you're starting out and you kind of want the break and then you go, oh, I should just go ahead with any, whatever they say, just do it. But the part of the artistic side of yourself has to say, well, I came into this to write new stuff, and I'd be like, I'd be ashamed of myself if I gave up that, the dream of doing new things. And
mm,
going back to the new work, I just watched the new Bob Dylan film the other day. In fact, I've seen it twice. A complete unknown, and I think it's terrific. I think it's fantastic. But it fits in with what we're talking about. That he came from nowhere, writing new work, and there were all of these new songs that were kind of changing people's ideas of it wasn't how much is that dug in the window anymore. It was Masters of War, or these incredible like 8 minute songs with these incredible lyrics and stuff. And but once the audience got it, it changed everything.
mhm,
And that's what new work can do. So we have to give new voices the opportunity,
for sure.
because without that, we're not going to go anywhere. We're just repeating ourselves, and it's boring. We only go around the sun once. We're only alive once. And if we don't put new stuff out there, what have we achieved? We're just kind of. So that's what I love what you're doing, because you're giving new voices or old voices or any voice an opportunity to also vent their spleen and be angry and upset and frustrated and everything. And hopefully somebody listens and they can identify with we can all identify with each other,
Mhm.
all the writers and composers. So it's great. Great
Fantastic.
to talk. Yeah, as always.
Well, sir, how do people find out more about you? What's the websites, the socials, etc.?
My website is www.stuartbrayson.co.uk, but you can also write me privately on that, because there's an info@stuartbrayson.co.uk. So if anyone wants to talk about any of these shows or just whatever, I mean, people do anyway, but if they want to, if there's any great theatres in Canada, just so I can come over and see you,
Yeah.
my shows on. But you can get in touch with me, and I love to hear from people. And I'm always interested in, like, I'm putting these evenings. We're going to organise some more evenings with. They'll not be big venues. They'll be quite intimate and small. But I love doing them because I love meeting young kids, and I love working with giving them a chance to sing some of my stuff and giving them a little bit of a platform. It's a fantastic thing, and then maybe a little bit of advice or not, but because I didn't listen to anyone, so it's hard for me to go, you should do this. Don't turn your back on the audience. But generally, I mean, so you can get in touch with me, and hopefully we'll do some evenings with, and I can meet, because I love to meet people personally. I'm one of these kind of composers that are sitting somewhere and they don't like want to get out and
Mhm.
talk. I like to meet people, and I like to hear that their struggles, and if I can be of any, like help in some way, like even if it's just I've done this, I've managed to do it, and it's just been through bloody mindedness a lot of the time. So if I can, maybe you can,
Yeah.
Mister. audience out there
Well,
or Mrs.
well, Stuart, congratulations on everything. I look forward
Yeah,
to hearing, where all those shows are going, and
yeah,
if once you know dates and times and
yeah.
information, send it my way. I will spread it through my socials
Oh,
and
I
let
will do definitely, and I really appreciate it. And it's just great talking because it just feels like we're just having a nana in the, you know,
Yep.
in your room or my room, and it's great. So it doesn't feel like it's too, whatever. It's lovely. It's
Well,
always it's always a joy.
one day it will be in a pub somewhere over there, just
Yeah.
hanging out and talking. Because my fiance has family in London, so I have to go see that. My sister's up in the northern part, so there's reasons to get over there. Yourself, there's lots of people I have to go see. So
Brilliant, brilliant. Well, I can't wait to meet you in the flesh. But in the meantime, it's lovely to see you
yeah,
via this virtual world, and very proud of what we've achieved together as well.
for
By
sure,
the way,
for
I
sure,
think we've done some grand stuff.
we have.
Okay, but
Awesome.
just keep it going, keep faith, keep it going, keep that
Will
lovely
do.
enthusiasm, and we're all very very grateful for what you do.
Well, thank you. All right. Well, we were just speaking with Stuart Brayson about all his shows. Make sure you check them out. Fantastic man. Can't wait till we have him on for interview number 6 at some point in the future. Tune in next week as we speak with another guest or guest about their life, love, and passion that is musical theater. I am your host, as always, Jean Paul Yovanov. And until next time, I'll see you when I see you.